My name is Allison. I'm sitting on the porch steps of my beach house, the ocean whispering a gentle lullaby. My daughter is beside me, her head resting on my shoulder. It's a peaceful scene, but it wasn't always like this. A month ago, I received a postcard in the mail. The handwriting was familiar, my father's. It simply said, "Hope the waves are still kind to you." There was no apology, no ownership of their past actions. But strangely, it didn't hurt like it used to. I'd stopped waiting for that kind of love from people who couldn't even love themselves. 2 weeks before that, I'd framed the title deed to this beach house. It was a reminder that peace is not a gift, it's a choice you fight for, inch by inch. I'd printed a second copy and mailed it to my parents. No note, no explanation. Just the title with my name on it, letting them feel the impact. My daughter had asked me, "Will they be mad?" I'd knelt down, kissed her forehead, and said, "Probably." But mad means they noticed. And noticing is the first step to change. She'd then asked, "Will they change?" I'd smiled and replied, "That part's not up to us." Before that, the family group chat had been filled with noise. Messages like "family means forgiveness." "You're taking things too far, Dad, your behavior is selfish." "You're making everything about you, and so dramatic." "You weren't technically excluded. You just weren't needed" had appeared. It was the same old script, guilt, gaslight, guilt again. But I'd burned that script weeks ago. I screenshotted the messages and archived them, not as evidence but as a reminder of the clarity I'd found. The night before that, I'd posted a photo of the beach behind me and my daughter laughing in the background. There was no caption, just peace. Within an hour, comments had flooded in from extended relatives. One had written, "Didn't even know you were left out of the engagement. That's terrible." Another had said, "You always brought class to family events." Their loss. Each message chipped away at the lie my family had curated that I was forgettable and replaceable. A day earlier, I'd received an email from an old family friend, Aunt Linda. She'd seen my beach post and my sister's engagement photos weeks earlier. Her email was short, just wanted to say I noticed. "I'm sorry. I always thought they took advantage of your kindness. You deserved better. I hope you find peace and stay there." Those words had landed like a soft thud inside my chest. For the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. 3 days before that, my parents' car had been parked 2 blocks down from the beach house. It was the same white SUV they'd used to take my sister, Lily, to her engagement party. I'd seen them sitting inside, waiting and watching. I'd ignored them, watering the front plants and sipping my tea. At sunset, they'd finally knocked on the door. My mother, Grace, had smiled like we were actresses rehearsing warmth and said, "We were just in the area. Thought we'd say hi." I'd tilted my head and asked, 3 hours from your house. Just in the area?" Her smile had cracked. My father, Henry, had cleared his throat and said, "Your sister's upset. Says you've been cold." That post hurt her. I'd stepped out and closed the door behind me. "You came here hoping I'd make you feel better about what you did," I'd said, pointing at the window where my daughter was watching us. "She's the reason I stopped begging. One day, I want her to know what self-respect looks like." My mother had whispered, "Please, don't do this." I'd smiled gently and replied, "I'm not doing anything. I'm just not pretending anymore." They'd sat in the car outside for almost an hour, hoping I'd cave. But I'd lit candles and played jazz in the kitchen, letting the house feel like mine again. When I'd checked my phone, there was a message from Lily, "Mom's crying. You win. Happy now?" I hadn't replied because this was never about winning. It was about ending a game I never agreed to play. The morning before that, I'd woken up to a voice message from my mother. It was 52 seconds of forced cheer and tight-lipped panic. "Hi, sweetheart. I think we should talk. Your sister's post was immature. You know how she is. I didn't even know she was going to post that. Anyway, your dad's feeling under the weather and the beach air always helps him sleep. Let's not turn this into something bigger than it is. Love you. I'd replayed it twice, hearing the desperation beneath the fake warmth. She wasn't sorry, she was scared. Scared they were losing their grip on me. I'd forwarded the message to my lawyer, who'd helped me put the beach house entirely under my name after my husband passed away. She'd responded within minutes, still secure. No loopholes. No rights of access unless explicitly granted. You're untouchable. The night before that, I'd posted a photo of myself on the porch, sunlight on my face and a wine glass in hand. The caption was, "It's peaceful when you stop begging to be loved the wrong way." It had gone viral within the family, and I'd had 4 missed calls within 5 minutes, 1 from my father, 1 from my sister, and 2 from unknown numbers I knew were relatives. I hadn't answered any of them. I was simply living without the weight of needing their applause. My sister had posted a photo of her and my mother laughing on a friend's boat with the caption, "Making new memories." Some people don't need an invite nail polish. The comments were full of praise, like amazing ladies. True family and forget the haters. You're doing it right. That's when I'd felt a cool sort of clarity. They'd rewritten the story, making me the outcast. Before that, my father had sent me a message saying, "We'll pay for groceries and clean up if it's about that. Just let us come." I'd smiled because they still didn't get it. It wasn't about chores, it was about respect. I'd been done loaning them access to the life they once pretended didn't exist. A month earlier, my mother had messaged me, "Beach house free this weekend? Everyone wants a break. Let me know, sweetie." I'd stared at the screen, waiting for 3 hours before replying. It was available last month. The whole beach was there. It was a standard weekend. No emoji, no warmth, just their own coldness reflected back. That night, I'd checked the family group chat. It was full of passive-aggressive pings. Guess Allison doesn't care about family. She's changed since she moved into that beach place. Maybe she likes being the black sheep. They'd never said a word when I was forgotten, but now that I wasn't giving, I was the villain. I remembered the day I found out about my sister's engagement party. I'd shown up at my mother's house with a card and a small gold bracelet. Lily had looked at me like I'd walked in with rotten eggs. My mother had blinked and said, "That was last week." The whole family was there. It was a standard celebration. It was as if family milestones were just scheduled events I didn't need to attend, like I was some distant relative they could update later. The photos were already online. Lily in white, balloons, banners, a cake that read, "He put a ring on it." Everyone was there, even my second cousins and my mother's bridge club friend who'd once called me too sensitive. But not me. I'd left the bracelet on the counter and walked out, driving home to my quiet beach house. I grew up in a family where I was always the one trying to fit in. My parents, Grace and Henry, were well respected in the community. Grace was a social butterfly, always organizing events and gatherings. Henry was a successful businessman, often busy with work. Lily was their golden child, always getting the attention and praise. I'd always been the one to clean the house, stock the fridge, and prepare for family gatherings. I'd told myself, this is how families heal. But I'd finally seen the pattern. They only reached out when it was convenient for them. The rest of the time, I was invisible. Now, as I sit here with my daughter, I know that I've made the right choice. I've packed away the last box of what-ifs. The laughter echoing through this beach house is real. It's ours. And when the doorbell rings, it's out of choice, not obligation. This is my new story, and I'm finally at peace.